Dude, it feels like forever since I saw you last. Last time we talked, we were talking about Nightmare on Elm Street and the story behind that. Now we're back. It's Thanksgiving. I'm your host, Cordelia Breyer. It's good to see you guys. I hope you guys pigged out as much as I did. Man, I basically didn't see a food I couldn't eat today. I was just like, you, get in my belly. And now I'm sitting here like, cover me up. Oh, God. The rolls are everywhere, guys. Oh, my Lord. I ate too much. I ate too damn much. But I also got to see an amazing horror / comedy film that I had to share with you guys. And I thought it would be a great segment into today's video. And that movie is called Thanksgiving. You know, the title alone, it's kind of like, well, you know, history the way it is. It's not too far off, eh? Anyway, so this movie was made in 2007, and it was actually a college film project directed by a man named Jordan Downey. Basically, what we have here is typical stereotypes. You know, college kids that are getting ready to go on an excursion for Thanksgiving together. They're going to go home, celebrate the holidays. They're driving along. Car breaks down. They're like, hey, we're here. There's a few of us. There's a couple of girls. We got some beer and some tents. And, yeah, we can do this. So they decide, okay, car's broken down. Let's camp for the night. They're camping. They start getting to talk about like folklore legend of Turkey, the killer turkey, who was necromanced by a Native American named Feathercloud and was basically sent every 505 years, not 500, 505 years, to kill white people. As many as he possibly could. Okay? So it's one of those amazing movies. This movie literally it has terrible acting. The scripting is kind of whatever. And yet everything about this movie, it just works. It's funny from start to finish. It opens up with this chick and she's like got her Puritan dress on, but her boobs are like fully exposed. We don't actually know why. And she's just running down the forest like, and her boobs are like, And so that's going on. And you're like, well, what is she running from? And then all of a sudden, here comes this like ratchet ass looking turkey that's like, nice tits, bitch. And I'm over here watching it like, loved it. Absolutely loved it. I'm sure some people would watch it and be like, this sucks. I don't think it sucks. I think it's amazing. I put these kind of movies up in the same category that I put like small businesses in. I love entrepreneurs. I love visionaries. I love people who explore their creative options, no matter how silly it might be. I love it. I love it. And I understand there are sequels of this movie I haven't yet seen. So I was reading a little bit about it and I found out that they had like a 3,500 something like that budget. And more than like half of this was spent on the chick with the boobs. Sex sells. You know what I mean? So it was awesome. And then the movie kind of ends with like, they managed to kill him, but not really, because he pops up and he's like, I smell a sequel, biatch. I'm like, yes. Yes. Awesome. Awesome flick. Go see it. It's on Amazon and it's amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. But I watched that thinking, I kind of want to do a Thanksgiving episode. And I was like, wow, how are we going to talk about Thanksgiving where it doesn't sound kind of boring? Man, like, I've watched countless documentaries lately about Thanksgiving, and every one of them will put you in, like, anesthesia, It is fascinating. I love documentaries. I live for them. But there are some that are just like, So I didn't want the film to be like that. So I wanted to find something entertaining that we could tie it into. And I thought Thanksgiving works really well. Or Thanksgiving, excuse me. It works well because there's actually a part of this movie where this guy just kind of makes this ignorant ass white people comment where he's like, well, I don't get it, man. Like, we give them reservations and their own casinos. What the fuck more do they want? And I thought, I wonder how many people just kind of walk about the United States feeling that way. Well, they have reservations and, they have casinos. So I don't know what they're mad about. Well, okay, I could speculate, guys, that perhaps they're mad because here in the United States, we have somewhere in the neighborhood of at least 330 million people. And Native Americans only make up like 1.5% of that. And that's today, okay? Years and years of trying to rebuild their civilization, and they are still in that tiny, tiny percentile of the population. We obliterated these people because basically we just rolled up on it and said, hey, there's a nice looking country right here. I want it. Oh, someone's living here? Well, tough shit. Either they comply with our ways and they better start with our religious faith and do everything we want, or we're going to have to get them out of here. Either way, this is their land and it's ours now. It just, I don't know. It's a weird feeling as an American to know, of course, I'm proud to be one. But some of our heritage is just kind of like, man, but we just decided if we want something, it's ours. Damn the consequences. Damn the whole, caring about other people and how they live. And, the thing is Plymouth Rock, that's what we all learned in school. Plymouth Rock was the founding of America. Well, that's just not true. There were Spanish settlers here before. There were other people here before that happened. But somehow history managed to centralize it to America got its start at Plymouth Rock. Okay, fine, whatever. But it's the story that I got in school, and I don't know about you guys, but it's the one I got, was that basically the Pilgrims show up on the Mayflower and they're on a quest for religious freedom. They make it sound like these people were horribly oppressed, They're on a quest for religious freedom in the new world. You know what the truth was? The truth was these people were religious extremists to the highest power. These people did not believe that any kind of ceremony or ritual that was not written in print in the Bible should be practiced in any way, shape, or form. They were all about the actual purity of the scripture. Sounds real nice until you realize that nobody could live up to these people's expectations. It was ridiculous. Even regular Christians were kind of just like, dude, calm down a little bit, okay? Just simmer the F down. We get it. You love God. You want to be pure, but man, you guys are insufferable. So they're in England. They hate how England is going. They don't like the non-pure life there. They make their way over to Holland, I believe it was. Stayed there for a while. They didn't like that either. So they find passage on this Mayflower and they come over here. Okay, now, by the way, I'm giving you a Cliff Notes version. So if any of you are up in my comments going, well, they also did this, this, and this, and this, and this. I know, okay? But we can only make a video so long. Okay, so we're giving just a little cliff by cliff by cliff, okay? So they hop this boat and they come here. Now, they started with a full house. And by the time they got here, almost half of them were dead from sickness and stuff like that. They didn't have beds to sleep on. It was a rough trip. It really was. But the way that it's taught to us in school is as if they're like victims. They're trying to escape persecution, blah, blah, blah. The truth is these people were just extreme and insufferable. In their own countries were kind of like, oh, okay, bye. God, geez, get out of here, man. And I don't know that I don't want to say they were bad people. They were extreme. Unfortunately, when they did get here, they engaged in some very bad people behaviors. Okay. So the way I was taught in school is they floated up and they were like, what a lovely land here. Oh, look at the people with the feathers in their head. Oh, hi. Nice to meet you. We should get together and do Thanksgiving sometime. Yeah, except that's just not what happened, okay? With them, they brought disease to our Native American friends. They weren't the first. Disease was already hitting the Native Americans before the Mayflower even showed up. It actually took out like whole tribes with diseases and stuff like that. And I don't fault them for that kind of stuff, because diseases were something that they didn't know. Maybe they didn't know what they were carrying. The Native Americans didn't know what was coming at them. Diseases kind of messed up that way. I don't think it was intentional. It just happened that way. But what really got me about our Pilgrim ancestors is how hard the American school system pushed the whole thing of they all sat down together and they prayed together and they had a lovely meal. But no, what they did is they came and they looked at these savages and they were like, oh, well, look at them. Look at the way they live. Look at the way they look. I bet they don't believe in God. Oh my God, they don't believe in God. Okay, we're gonna have to work on that. If you guys want to live here, we're gonna have to work on that. But in the meantime, these people were dying because they were freezing. They were dying because they were hungry. They were so nose deep in their Bible that by the time they got here, they were basically useless. They didn't know how to hunt for their food. They didn't know how to plant crops or how to utilize the fur to keep themselves warm. So guess what? Lo and behold, the Native Americans suddenly become useful in that capacity. Okay? So they do all that. They teach them how to grow their crops, how to stay warm, how to hunt, take care of themselves. Honestly, they didn't have to be that nice to these people. In theory, they probably could have banded together and taken them out themselves the minute they landed here. But they didn't. They figured, new people on our land, how about we help them and, try and coexist? And our answer to that was, well, we don't like them. They're savages and they're not like religious like we are, but what the hell, we'll use them for what they're worth. Okay? So that's what they did. Then they get together sometime in 1621 and have a little feast. They've got all their stuff that they've learned how to grow in their crops, and they're making food to eat. And from what I can gather, from what I've read and seen, the Native Americans weren't even actually invited. They had just heard like kind of a commotion going on, and they kind of just rolled up on them like, hey, what's going on, guys? Is everything all right? And they kind of crashed the party, one could say. And then at that point it was, oh, well, yeah, since you're here, sit down. But the whole whitewashed version of, oh, they couldn't wait to just sit together and hold hands and sing Kumbaya together. Like, it didn't happen that way. Okay? So they go on to keep going as a society. Now the Puritans, they come here and they say things like, we support a world free from unlawful search and seizures and too much government involvement and things like that. And yet the minute they landed, the first thing they did was made a play for power. They created their own government system. They figured out who was in charge there, and they kind of made the rules. They didn't like too much government involvement unless, of course, you were a savage that needed to be taught the correct way to live. Then you would go through things like Puritan conversion. Okay? That was an interesting one that I heard about. Now, I just want to say that there is a lot of different things out there about the Puritans. I can't say with 100% certainty that I know everything that I researched is accurate or not, because there are literally different accounts from all directions. There are things that are written about them, but they're written from a Puritan perspective, so we just have to go off of whatever they say, which is kind of dicey to me. But from what I read, they were doing a thing called conversion, where basically they didn't like that Native American language they were speaking. They didn't like the way they were looking. They certainly didn't like the way they worshiped. So they put them through conversion and said, not only are we going to ditch this language you're speaking, but we're going to teach you a new language. And this new language needs to be put into a Bible as well, because we can't have you walking around without the correct, faith. Because the way you've been doing it this whole time without us, it's wrong. It's just wrong. So, yeah. So they did things like that to these people. And if they weren't complying, well, sometimes they got eliminated. It was a pretty ugly situation, Then you talk about Thanksgiving in general. I think throughout history, most of us have been taught that this is the original Thanksgiving. But research suggests that it wasn't. They say that in Europe, they actually had like giving thanks festivals and things like that. Here in America, back in 1565, the actual Spanish settlers that were hanging out here for a little while did get together with the Saloy tribe, and they had a little feast together near what is now known as Florida. And it was like a giving thanks feast, and that was quite a while before Plymouth Rock even happened. Then there was another rumor. I read this, and I really hope that this is not true in terms of did they see this as a giving thanks day. I hope not. It was 1637, Massachusetts Governor John Winthrop declared a day of celebrating slaughtering hundreds of Pequot Indians. I hope that's not true. I mean, we know that he did declare these things. I just hope that that's not really what he saw as a Thanksgiving, because that's horrifying. But yeah, I mean, I would highly suggest that you guys look a little deeper into it. I'm still, as we speak, looking into a lot with Thanksgiving. There's still a lot I don't know. There's a lot that you guys don't know. And I don't know if we're ever going to know, okay? What I do know for certain is that this country decided America and everything that we hold dear about it basically originated at Plymouth Rock. And then they kind of just brushed over the parts they didn't want to talk about. We certainly don't want to talk about like Christian conversions, and we don't want to talk about slaughtering women and children and things like that in an effort to make a play for power for more land and more control. We don't want to talk about stuff like that. So instead we all got together and smiled and ate food. We didn't even eat turkey. They would eat things like fish and whatever else, whatever kind of wild game they could find. Turkey could have been a possibility, but they don't know that for certain. They just know that they ate whatever wild game they could get at the time, along with things that they grew. And then the Native Americans, the Wampanoag, I think it's Wampanoag is how you pronounce it. They brought stuff to the party they weren't even invited to. Can you imagine being that classy? Like, you show up and you're just kind of checking in on your little settler friends going, hey, what's going on? Are you guys all right? And then you find out they're having a party that you weren't even invited to, and you're still like, oh, we're going to bring something anyway. It's the right thing to do. So they go and they bring some more wild animals and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, wow. Pumpkins were another interesting thing that we bring up a lot in our traditions, but pumpkins weren't really a big thing to the Native Americans. So there's a lot of things about Thanksgiving that we hold as a tradition now that I would love to do some more research into how we got there. But like I said, it's a little Cliffy Notes version, guys. Don't nitpick at it. I'm just giving you the basics. And the basics are the American school system needs to step up their game a little bit. I get why, like, okay, you're a third grader or something like that. Obviously, you don't want to tell third graders, okay, well, we are a descendant of a group of people who took Native Americans and tried to give them a puritanical brain lobotomy, so to speak, with conversion therapy and stuff like that. We don't want to talk about the fact that there is a possibility that you might have Native American blood in your system as a direct result of people raping Native Americans in your ancestor line. No, we don't want to say that to like third graders, so I get why they whitewashed it a little bit, but we need to start being at least a little honest. There's no harm in saying, yeah, unfortunately, a lot of them died just because of diseases. And yeah, unfortunately, we didn't handle things very well. We wanted stuff, we wanted land, we wanted progress, and they were in our way. But I think that the reason that history has been so whitewashed over time is embarrassment. Like, I really think that's what it is. I think that now here we are in 2021 thinking, can't believe that we treated these people this way. You know? And I think about that now. Everything I've read about this, and like I said, I'm not giving you all of that information because we'll be here till the end of time, but basic cliff notes, we did not treat these people well. And now here we are in 2021 saying stupid shit like, hey, they have reservations and they have casinos. Why are they mad? Well, they're mad because they deserve to live just like anybody else. They shouldn't have to have a reservation. There should have been enough of these people left that they could live right next door to you and me all day long. But no. No, instead there's a select few of them left in their tiny little reservations all over the country. And I'm happy that they have that. I'm happy that they have a place where they can be, where they can raise their children. They can teach them about their heritage and who they are and what it means to be a proud Native American. But it's unfair. It's unfair that we're sitting here like, well, I guess you can have some casinos and a little spot of land. It's not right, you know? So, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that, guys. This is one of those episodes where I wish it was more fun and joking and all that jazz, but the truth is, it is a very serious thing. It is a very sad situation. And I think about every time that we celebrate Thanksgiving, do we really understand what it is that we're celebrating? And I think about how, especially in 2021 now, we have an entire culture of people that are waking up to history, waking up to racism and things like that in ways that we haven't in so many years. Now, I admit some of these people can be a little extreme and even annoying at times with some of their mannerisms and stuff like that. But I happen to love the fact that we're finally taking the initiative to have a little more awareness about the harm that we've inflicted on people. We did have slaves. We did kill Native Americans, okay? We did things that we are not proud of, and we can't afford to just cover them up anymore. We can't whitewash our history books and think, oh, well, if we just say we didn't do all this stuff, then it didn't happen. Because if we all know one thing, it's that if we ignore history, we are doomed to repeat it, okay? So we need to do better, okay? When Thanksgiving rolls around, I think it's important to sit down with your families and say, hey, I think it's awesome that we're together giving thanks for each other and the things that we have, but let's just take a moment, maybe a moment of silence together to pray or at least remember people who went through a lot of hell on this day. Thanksgiving, not necessarily a day of thanks for certain cultures. You know what I mean? In fact, Native Americans widely regard this day as a day of mourning. And it's sad. It's really very sad. What's even more sad to me is how there's a lot of us out there, us white people, who don't seem to care. We don't care enough. We say things like, oh yeah, it really sucks. Okay, anyway, back to Thanksgiving. There's a big debate right now over whether or not we should even celebrate Thanksgiving because of the dark history attached to it. My take on Thanksgiving is I don't think that we need to obliterate it. You know, I can understand the argument. I can understand getting rid of it because it does have a nasty past attached to it. But getting rid of it to me seems counterproductive because there are things about Thanksgiving that I think are great. The idea that you can get together with your family and your friends and say, hey, I'm thankful for everything that we have. I'm thankful for my family. I'm thankful for my friends. I'm thankful for this roof over my head. To me, that's not such a horrible thing to celebrate. It wouldn't kill us to be thankful a little more often. So I don't know that the actual holiday needs to go away. I just think we need to do better about raising awareness of what it is we're celebrating when we celebrate Thanksgiving, especially with our children. I was happy to learn when my daughter went on Thanksgiving break, they actually went into the origins of Thanksgiving. Now, granted, they weren't going to get super graphic, and neither am I, because I just think a lot of graphic details on this. Yes, you need to know about them, but do you need to know about them on a horror channel on YouTube? Not really. So, like I said, Cliff Notes. But my daughter's class actually did talk about the spread of disease, and they didn't talk about conversions and stuff like that, but they did talk about pushing religion on these cultures and unfortunately having a hand in putting ends to these people's lives and their livelihoods and things like that. So I was happy to see that the school's finally talking about this. I think it's wonderful. I hope if we keep doing that, we'll finally get to a place where maybe we can all actually have a Thanksgiving together. I like the idea that maybe one day we can actually sit down with our Native American friends and talk about what we should have talked about then, our differences, and what we're thankful for, and hopefully come to a place of love and understanding, maybe even a little forgiveness. You know, as a person who is white and probably does have descendants of these Puritans, I want to say I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Native American cultures and what these people had to go through for years. Okay? I'm sorry for that. And even if I'm not related to these people, I'm still sorry for that. I really am. It shouldn't be like that. So, anyway, that's what I came to talk to you guys about. And some other interesting things that I learned about Thanksgiving. And I honestly don't know if they talked to me about this in high school. Thanksgiving, in terms of when we were celebrating it, that was a fascinating situation. There was a lot of argument over, should we even make it a holiday? We don't really know. What day of the week should we celebrate it? Should it be like the first Thursday? Should it be no Thursday? The second Thursday? And this apparently went on for a very long period of time. A woman by the name of Sarah Hale approached President Lincoln saying, we need to make this an official holiday. And this is right in the middle of like 1863, when the North and the South are still bickering over slavery and everything like that. Of course, the South was opposed to Thanksgiving. I mean, I don't even know. But they didn't like that. Anyway, Lincoln goes ahead and declares it an official holiday, the last Thursday of each month. What I didn't know was for the next 75 years, every sitting president in office would have to redeclare this holiday every year. Why, I don't really know, but they had to do that. Every sitting president had to redo this for years. It's kind of wild. Then eventually, Franklin Roosevelt picks it up and decides that he's going to make it earlier in the month. And he's going to make it like I think it was like the second to last Thursday of November. And this just fucked everybody up because people were like, no, it's the last Thursday in November, not that one. And then there's like one group who's celebrating it on this day, one group who's celebrating it on that day. And it was just bickering. And this went on for a few years until finally they put it down in stone. Like, yes, this is when Thanksgiving is. We're done with this argument. But it was just crazy. I didn't realize how big of a deal Thanksgiving was. You know, like, oh, we need to figure this out. We need to fight over this for years to come. When will it happen? We're fighting over when it's going to happen, what time of the month we're going to celebrate it, but still not talking about the things that happened during it. Whatever. But yeah. Interesting situation. There's so many documentaries on Thanksgiving. And as I said, you know, I don't even know if what I know currently is factual. There's so much stuff out there about Thanksgiving and where it originates from, what really happened, what didn't happen. There's a really great book out there. It's called This land is their land. It's on Amazon. And sadly, I never got a chance to read the whole book. I only got through like a couple chapters before I had to film this video. Great book. It's on Amazon. Check it out. I will post the link to that in my description box. Off the top of my head, the name of the author right now, I got mashed potatoes for brains right now, so I'm sorry about that. Also, if you are looking for a decent documentary about Thanksgiving that isn't the whole whitewashed, we held hands and sang Kumbaya together, you might try the PBS channel. And it is a documentary called The Pilgrims. It's a long one, and it's kind of slow, but it is very informative. Very informative indeed. They're the ones who kind of outright admit these people were religious extremists and their own country didn't like them. Okay? Like, whatever. But, anywho, I just thought we'd talk about that a little bit. I didn't want to go too dark with this. It did cross my mind. Originally, I had a whole setup of every little blurb by blurb. And this year this happened. And this year these people died. And this is how many died and how they died and how graphic it was. And then I thought, I want to go there, but I really don't. It's going to go for hours. I don't have hours. You don't have hours. And frankly, it's hard. It's hard to really talk about Thanksgiving because you begin to realize how ignorant you really are as a white person in America to your own history. So, like I said, on behalf of anybody who was a descendant of these people, I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. I feel the same way about slavery. If you're a descendant of a slave owner, even though you weren't there and you didn't own the slaves, it's not going to kill you to say, hey, I'm sorry for what my people did. It's a step, guys. We need to start making steps toward moving forward instead of moving backward. And I was thinking about the whole term white privilege the other day. White privilege for me, I think that everybody kind of has their own perspective on what white privilege is. I've encountered people who associate white privilege with finances, like privilege meaning that you're white and you're rich, or you're just white and you're born racist, and things like that. And I'm sure that there are so many different perspectives on white privilege. But when I think about white privilege, I think about being able to have a really dark history of a time where you used a culture for your benefit and then discarded them like they were garbage. And then when you wrote the history books, you conveniently just left that out and continued throughout centuries walking between the raindrops on your own history, and it didn't affect you in any way. To me, that's what privilege looks like. Being able to just completely ignore or alter history, and it's not going to affect you in any way because you're in the clear. But if you're an African American or a Native American, your history, you can't escape it, folks. You can't escape it. These people, their history defines them. And even though some of their history is not great, some of their history is pretty incredible. But it does define these people. It defines everything that they know about themselves, everything that they teach their children and their children's children, and everything about them revolves around who they were and what they went through to get to where they are today. White people just kind of callously walk around like, I don't know, I think we ate dinner with the Native Americans or something. I don't know. To me, that's a type of privilege that you can just callously disregard everything that you've come from, and it doesn't really affect you either way. And I think we need to get past that. I think we need to get better than that. I'm not saying that you need to go and get on your knees and grovel and beg for forgiveness of every Native American you ever met, but it's not going to kill you to say, man, you know what, dude, I'm sorry. I was taught this kind of way. There's a lot I don't know. I apologize for my ignorance, and I apologize for anything that any ancestors of mine might have done to you. I just think it's a step in the right direction. I don't speak for Native Americans, but I don't think that their objective here is like, abolish Thanksgiving, abolish it. Maybe they want it gone, but I think at their core, what they really want is for us to just admit we fucked up and we're sorry and we need to move forward and be better and have awareness of what it is we're celebrating and be respectful of what it is that they're not celebrating. Okay? So, yeah, it's just a little food for thought to share with you guys after an entire day of shoving food in my face. I was just curious, what do you guys eat for Thanksgiving? I was reading on Instagram that some people eat mac and cheese in Thanksgiving. I can honestly say I've never seen mac and cheese come to my Thanksgiving parties. I've actually heard people who eat like lasagna on Thanksgiving. Not judging. I just have never heard of that. So I was just curious, what do you guys like to have on your plates? What are your favorite dishes at Thanksgiving? For me, I'm basic, dude. It is all about potatoes. I cannot have a Thanksgiving without potatoes. And not only that, I'm very particular about how I like them. I need them to have like 95 pounds of garlic in them and like 12 sticks of butter because I live that healthy life, right? I will tell you this, guys. In terms of pie, not the biggest fan of pumpkin pie. Although today I am going to make you a pumpkin pie martini. And being a person who's not the hugest fan of like pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice stuff, I gotta tell you, this drink is delicious. All right, so things that you're gonna need for this, if you wanna take time to go to the kitchen and get them, we're gonna take a brief intermission. I figure after all of this talk and all of these crazy things going on in our history, we need a good solid drink after that. So we're gonna take an intermission, but in the meantime, you're gonna wanna grab yourself some vodka. Let me think about this for a second, guys. Okay, you need vodka. You need vanilla extract. You need a can of like pumpkin puree, and it does advise not filling, but like puree. You need some pumpkin pie spice if you've got it. If you don't, just grab a little bit of cinnamon and nutmeg. It'll get the job done. You need heavy whipping cream. And then you need pure maple syrup and some graham crackers. I feel like there might be something I'm missing here, but I don't think so. Anyway, I will gather all of my stuff together and I will see you guys back here in a few minutes after this brief intermission. Again, wanted to do a full like National Geographic video for you guys or History Channel video, whatever. I just didn't have it in me. I'm a Cliff Notes kind of girl. So we get down to the point here. We kind of lied to our kids about Thanksgiving. Let's do better. Okay? Cliff Notes. Just do better. But still, I want you to get together with your families and be happy and be thankful for each other. I don't think that essence of Thanksgiving is a bad thing. So I hope they don't do away with Thanksgiving. I hope they just find a way to intermingle the past and the present and come up with something better for the future. But anyway, I'll be back in just a few minutes, guys, and we're going to shake up that martini, all right? Hey, and we're back from that brief intermission of me sitting there going, my Lord, there was so much more I wanted to tell you guys, and I was kind of just like, it's just too much. It's too much. It's too much to remember, honestly. Like I told you in the first video, as these videos keep going, I'll get better. Eventually, I hope to own a teleprompter that reminds me of my thoughts, because if you have to rely on my brain to remember things, Lord have mercy, okay? For instance, we're going to try to remember this drink, okay? So, this, my friends, we are making a pumpkin pie martini. I know it's a little cliche, I was trying to find like a good holiday drink for Thanksgiving, but it's all pretty much the same thing. Either you're making stuff with cranberry or you're making stuff with pumpkin. There's just no in between, right? So we got all kinds of stuff here. We got vodka, we got whipping cream, we got pumpkin puree. We got shit, okay? So we're going to do this. And I was just thinking about everything we were just talking about, and You have to wonder, when they made that video, Thanksgiving, did they understand the irony of everything that they were making? Did they kind of low-key want to slide in like, hey, we kind of deserve to be cursed by a killer turkey to come out and get us? Because I kind of think they meant that when they made that movie. It's amazing. Anyway, I told you guys before you should watch it. It's funny as hell. Funny as hell. Man. All right, so we're going to get started. I got my little guy here full of ice. Okay, and if I can remember how this goes, I believe we want to pop our little top off first, right? We're going to start with a nice big couple of ounces here of vodka. I'm going to set this to the side before I have some dreadful accident where I break things, because I do that a lot, actually. I'm going to set my vodka back in its vodka house down here. Okay, we're done with that. We're going to pop that bad boy in here. All right. Yummy, 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 yummy. Now, if you go down the wild web of Google and look up pumpkin pie martinis, you're going to see hundreds of them. There's so many different ways that people make this. It's just the way that I found, and it's tried, true, and tasty. Okay, so we're just going to roll with it, right? So we have our vodka, and then it wants us to do a nice little ½ ounce of whipping cream. I don't know why I got this obnoxiously large thing of whipping cream, but whatever. I used it in my mashed potatoes because you got to have the cream. You know what I'm saying? You got to have the cream, guys. All right. Now, in this recipe, it does say you can use this tiny little ½ ouncer for the 100% pure maple syrup. I found that I like the drink to be a little bit sweeter. And so, yeah, kind of need this to be a little bit more. I'm going to add this and then just a smidgen bit more. Just going to add that in there. Yeah. So we're going to do that. Okay. I just like a little sweetness to my drinks. You know, if you like something a little more like bittery pumpkin tasting and not too much sugar, that's your prerogative. You can put whatever. If you're really feeling naughty, you can even add a little brown sugar up in here as well. It also tells us that we want to do like a 1/4 teaspoon. Yeah, 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I'm going to step my game up on that because I actually felt like this was lacking in flavor with that extract. I feel like we could have done more. So I'm going to do ½ teaspoon. Hopefully I don't regret that. I don't know. Either way, I'm the one that has to try it, not you. So we're good to go. Shazam, shazam, shazam. Then it kind of just said that you can add your pumpkin spice to taste. So I'm just kind of tap, tap, tap. There you go. That's a little bit. You don't want too much. Pumpkin pie spice is pretty excessive, honestly. And we've got our can of pumpkin puree here. It says to do 2 tablespoons of this stuff, right? This thing is crazy, isn't it? I got this for free somewhere, and I love it. I love everything about this. I got a little bit of every teaspoon, tablespoon thing right at my fingertips. It's cheap, and it works. Right? So a couple of tablespoons of that icky stuff. Ew. Pumpkin's just kind of, ew. I don't know how I feel about it. All right. So we got that. Now before we go any further, what we want to make sure we do is to make our rim nice and pretty. You can't have a holiday martini without making it pretty, right? So we've got graham crackers here. All right. We also have in this little bowl of mine here, I have the 100% maple syrup. It tells me in the recipe, don't do like Mrs. Butterworth's or something. They don't want you to do that. So make sure that it's like pure maple syrup, okay? We'll take our little cuppy cup. We're just going to let that just sit in there and swim in this syrup. Fancy, fancy, fancy. You know, guys, I can't stop thinking about Puritan conversion. You know, every time I think about conversion, I think of like gay conversion, where they had like these fucked up camps where they were trying to like de-gay people. I really just didn't even know that that was going on with Native Americans. I mean, I knew that they were pushing their faith on them and all that, but I mean, I knew that. But when they said extremists, they meant it because they literally were telling these people, believe in what we believe in, and if not, you are helping Satan. They were literally telling these people that. Freaking horrible. As if they, and this is what they get for just wanting to help people. You know, they just wanted to show them how to grow some crops and survive. Probably should have killed them the first chance they got, you know, if we're being honest here. That's probably exactly what they should have done. They should have been like, stranger danger, just off them quickly, before they make us do weird shit. Okay? All right. Got us a pretty little glass here. Isn't that beautiful? It's beautiful. All right. I have a tiny little table that I work with here, so it's very easy for me to get overran with mess. Ugh, don't mind me. Pardon my fat gut here. I'm telling you guys, I literally ate everything in sight today. All right, so now we have this beautiful little martini glass. We have our stuff in here. I've already got ice loaded. We're going to put this bad boy on here. Put our little lid on. We're going to get our shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, 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 shake. I don't actually know how long, like, I'm not a bartender. I don't know how long you're actually supposed to do this for. I'm just going to shake till I feel like I can't shake anymore. Ooh, 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 ooh. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your pumpkin. Ooh, 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 ooh. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Got a little carried away. All right. Well, that looks pumpkin-y gooey. Pumpkin-y gooey. You know what? One more time. One more time. Oh, shit. We almost had pumpkin splash. Not pumpkin spice. Pumpkin splash. I got it. It's thoroughly cold here. I think we're good to go, guys. Shazam. Isn't that beautiful? It's very pretty, very festive. Gotta make sure you shake it all out there. Some of it's still trapped inside the ice. Isn't that beautiful? Just look at that. How festive. How delicious. How delicious. So listen. That is how you make a pumpkin pie martini. Real simple ingredients, really fun, festive. If you're entertaining guests, this is really easy and fun. And besides, you should never miss out on any opportunity to look cool with a martini shaker, because nobody looks cooler than a person with a martini shaker. It's just my opinion. Anyway, thank you very much for being with me tonight. I know that I didn't get as in-depth with this video as I would have liked, but it was just one of those things where I felt like maybe less is more. You know, obviously we want to talk about some cliff notes of it, but we don't want to go into this full depressing ensemble. We can totally do that when we're watching, I don't know, a documentary, okay? So like I said, head over to the PBS channel and check out The Pilgrims. That is by far the best documentary I saw on this whole situation. Also, get yourself over to Amazon and rent Thanksgiving. You'll thank me for it later when you are dying of laughter watching this movie. It is incredible. Also, you know, I was thinking about the fact that I was wearing these little feathers, and I hope that it's not seen as culturally insensitive. I just happen to love Native American jewelry, Native American style. I think it's beautiful. I hope that I'm not being insulting by wearing that. I literally just love the fashion. So, you know, please don't take that the wrong way. I have nothing but respect for these amazing people who went through so much and they still maintain a positive outlook in their life. They're amazing people. So, anyway, I thank you for being here. I will see you tomorrow, because I said we're doing a double feature tonight, and then tomorrow we're going to talk about Black Friday. Guys. Okay. Tomorrow's video is just plain wild. Okay, it's a movie about a guy who, when he got asshole customers or people that just were not vibing the way he wanted them to, he just went ahead and fed them to his crocodile. He didn't have time for that nonsense, right? So I was like, this is an awesome movie. Cool. Talk about a way to deal with customers. And then I found out there was actually a real, like, true crime story behind this. So definitely going to tell you about that. And if we have a little time left, we'll talk about, like, how we came to actually get involved with Black Friday as a country and the craziness that surrounds it every year. And I'm also going to make you a delightful concoction called alligator sperm. Icky, but at the same time, actually very tasty. So I will see you tomorrow. Be there or be square. I love you guys.